Hello, my name is Gian and I'm here again for the digestive system written work. So, the first question we have is, what are the three factors affecting metabolic rate? How do they influence it? Uh, and yeah, how do they influence it? So the three factors we have is age, nutrition, and activity. Uh, with age, we become less active. We lose muscle mass, and the internal components are inside us. It starts to just like a machine. It breaks down, but this can be battled with strength training. But eventually, as we grow older and older, di na makakatch up ito ang training. So, for nutrition, the consumption of more when more calories comes in the body, the metabolism increases to compensate for the increase a lot for the calories that are inside the body. And for the decrease, if the caloric intake is decreased, there will also be a decrease in metabolic rate. And for activity, as I mentioned earlier, exercising affects your body's metabolic rate. It helps, it increases it, because as I connect here to age, of course muscle mass will get bigger, and well, it will be very active, our body. But we become less active, we become like a potato, like in sigrag-higda ganun. Of course the body's metabolic rate will decrease because no energy is used. Yeah. So next question we have is, trace the flow of food starting from the mouth until the anus and specify what type of digestion occurs in every part of the digestive tract, chemical or physical. The organs or mechanisms responsible for each digestive step. Now for the mouth, we have here, there are both physical and chemical digestion that's occurring. So the physical, the food turns into bolus because it's smashed together by the teeth, and then the food sliced down to the esophagus. So the teeth is plays a part here, the tongue and the palate, which is the above of the mouth, which helps the tongue push, helps in mashing it together as well. And for the chemical, the bolus also gets broken down by not only the physical, by getting mashed together. It's these are the salivary salivary glands present within our mouth. These, and within that, a starch gets broken down into glucose by the salivary amylase that is produced by these glands here. Now, after the mouth, it goes down the throat. As I mentioned earlier, bolus moves down the throat and to the stomach via the pharynx and the esophagus. Now, in the stomach, there are two physical and chemical processes that's occurring. The physical is the stomach walls pound the bolus, breaking it into chunks. But there, it's not breaking down so small yet. But here, the cells produce in the chemical part, the cells produce stomach acid to eliminate bacteria or toxins, or dito ma-poison or anything, or dito ma-infection. The bolus, the bolus's macronutrients are broken down by the stomach enzymes. The enzymes are produced by the stomach. They break it down even smaller, the food molecules, into macronutrients, which are the biomolecules. And then the hormones signal the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder that food is coming in, and prepare your enzymes to break down the food. Now, after the stomach, the chyme, actually chyme is the name after it's liquidina. Din siya first bolus. Bolus is like solid pa. So it's produced chyme. So chyme is released from the stomach to the duodenum. It's it's between the small intestine and the stomach. So inside the duodenum, chyme is broken down into macromolecules. It's into its smaller components, which called monomers. Monomers is when it's monomers na, it can be absorbed by by the intestines na. So here, the liver creates the bile. The bile is stored within the gallbladder, and the gallbladder is responsible for secreting bile. And then the bile that is used to break down fat. When fat is broken down, of course, it's turned into even smaller components, and which is classified as monomers. And pancreas also secrete powerful enzymes to further break down the chyme. So after all this, it's now secreted into the small intestine where the monomers are absorbed. Here, of course, is like it's more or less it's just absorbed, so it's more or less chemical, I think. So here the microvilli send nutrients into the bloodstream. So the micro it's absorbed by the microvilli, and then it's sent into the bloodstream. Or is it physical? Yeah, basta. It's sent into the bloodstream. The monomers aren't affected. It's just absorbed, meaning it's physical. It's just absorbed. And then after that, the rest of the food goes down the rest of the residue is goes down the ileum. So the nutrients are absorbed from it. It's not there's no nutrients within it na. So what happens is it's sent into the large intestine, which is from the ileum, because the ileum is the end part of the small intestine. So the excess water is absorbed by the large intestine. So stool is formed here. It becomes solid because it's not liquid anymore, because the water is taken out. So stool here is created, and then the gut bacteria also absorb what is left of chyme, because sometimes some people are, for example, are lactose intolerant, meaning they cannot break down lactose by themselves. So what happens is in the large intestine, that lactose is broken down by the gut bacteria within. We have a family of bacteria within our large intestine. So the stool goes down here in the rectum. When the rectum senses na puno na siya, there are nerves that's wrapping around the rectum, and when it feels like it's expanding na and there's too much stool, it sends signals to the anus na mo relax na ang barrier, meaning mo exit na to the body, right? To the body. So in general, what happens here is ingestion, the mouth, then propulsion of the bolus from the mouth to the throat, and then the mechanical breakdown here in the stomach, and the chemical digestion here in the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Then absorption by the small intestine, and the defecation. That's to answer number 2. So number 3 is, what is the fate of the different biomolecules once ingested, and how does the body utilize them in anabolism and catabolism? So here I have another diagram. So food molecules, the food molecules are taken in. What happens is that they turn into biomolecules, which are called polymers. The polymers are the lipids, carbs, protein, and nucleic acids from the food. Then that cannot be absorbed by our cell yet. So what happens is they turn into monomers. These are sugar, these are amino acids, fatty acids, and nucleotides. Now these cells use them to make their own polymers, and then to make their own polymers. So what happens to each is different. If we need, for example, we need to run a marathon, we ran a marathon, and we need to replenish our fat stores. So the for example the fatty acids and is stored as fat, or also the sugars, they're stored as fat. And then for example the myosin is used for our muscles. Whenever we work out and we need more myosin, it's given to us through these monomers when we need to increase our muscle mass. And the last is DNA from of course the nucleotides. Whenever our skin cells are damaged and we need to replace them. So that's what happens in anabolism and their catabolism, because the anabolism is when we create, and catabolism is when we break down. So number 4, how does the digestive system maintain blood glucose level, and what digestive organs are involved, and hormones that are responsible? So here, for example, we have low sugar, meaning glucose is a sugar. So if we have low sugar in the body, insulin is insulin is responsible for keeping the sugar low. But if it's too low, of course the pancreas says, the pancreas is the organs here. So if there's too low sugar, it'll be like, no, I'll stop creating insulin. So insulin declines, and then pancreas, instead of secreting insulin, it secretes glucagon. And what glucagon does is it goes to the liver and tells the liver to produce the glycogen, and then the glycogen here breaks down into glucose. And then what glucose is, of course, is the sugar. So glucose from the liver is a sugar. So meaning the sugar will increase na, meaning there will be homeostasis. True sadya, if ever there is too much sugar, too much sugar, the pancreas will not secrete glucagon anymore, but it would secrete insulin. And what insulin does, it keeps the sugar low. So insulin is increased in secretion and keeps the sugar low na pod. So that's basically it for digestive system, and thank you.